Well, it's getting close to time for Palantir's earnings, and with the market in complete chaos and kind of a recession looking like it's becoming more and more real right there on the horizon, and with conflicting data everywhere, Palantir's earnings are going to be critical because Wall Street is just looking to punish anybody and everybody regardless of what they actually report. We must get down to the bottom of what is going to happen on these earnings and what the stock will do, more importantly, if Alex bangs the table again or something like that. Totally kidding. I don't think he's going to do that, but I kind of hope that he kind of does. So there's an irrational freak out to sell a stock based on something I've never heard of anybody selling a stock for. And then it kind of just becoming this crazy thing on YouTube and in the media and everything else like it did the last time he did it. So let's talk about exactly what I see happening with these earnings and my exact plan that I'm going to execute to through all this, complete with a price target and everything else. I just ask in exchange for you to gently tap that like button and consider subscribing too. It's super easy to do if you like the truth without the hype. All right, so this earnings season has once again been nothing short of extraordinary. I mean, you got mega caps still moving wildly like they're small caps in some cases, but the market is kind of back to last year's move of rewarding great earnings with a massive beatdown. I mean, all we got to do is just look at Google last week and a couple other stocks for a prime example of exactly that happening. Yes, misses and misses mixed with lowered guidance is being punished with 10, sometimes even 20% downward moves. And we just experienced that with Tesla as well a few weeks ago. And I don't think we need to rehash that completely here. Matter of fact, I covered it in this video right up here if you want my further thoughts on it. But let's just say disappointing numbers are going to be met even more harshly than those with just good or great numbers. So despite Wall Street basically getting all kinds of crazy and beating things for no good reason or anything else like that, once again, the earnings apocalypse that everybody predicted was coming this quarter because it didn't come last quarter or the quarter before or the quarter before because, again, it hasn't arrived yet, has once again not happened because the vast majority of earnings have been great, but I'm sure they will have another excuse as to why it's coming again next quarter. Just remember, earnings season is always wild and doesn't make a lot of sense, and that is held true to form once again this earnings and really throughout my entire 20 plus years of investing. And it's why I just buy according to my plan and avoid all the craziness around earnings, because the stock's never more manipulated than around earnings. So I don't want to play those games. I'm not playing Wall Street's games. I'll just hang back, follow my plan, and move on with life. But we've been having a lot of deep discussions about all kinds of earnings, what's going on around earnings, what's going on with specific companies, what's the plan moving forward with those companies, breaking down those earnings in detail. That's going on daily in my group, which the spooky flash sale to get access ends tomorrow if you want in on that analysis and discussion and you want to take 5 courses for free. Watch hundreds of videos and lessons and tutorials that we have. You get direct access to me anytime you want. Jump on our live Q&As. We have a stock analyzer tool you can use completely for free. We got the best 6, 7, 8-figure Discord out there full of members willing to help you out, formulate your plan, know how to do evaluation, everything, guys. So make sure you take advantage of the spooky flash sale before the price goes back up. Now back on track here. Palantir is just different from most other stocks on the stock market. I mean, there's just kind of this constant battle in the stock. It's either a future $1 trillion company or it's just trash and another stock destined to be, basically to go down the bottom of the YouTube pile bin of stocks that just absolutely sucked and were promoted on YouTube. Kind of like Tesla was a few years ago. Probably not on the extreme on the bull or the bear side. It's not, I don't know, Tesla just has some crazy up and, bearish and bullish takes on it. But Palantir clearly falls into that. I basically kind of get it, and it's going to be big real one day. Or if you kind of fall on the other side and it's, I don't get it, and it's overpriced hype like many stocks are. Unfortunately, I think Palantir's earnings will give both sides more talking points that will bolster their positions, which means it's essentially remaining extremely divided for now. But comment down below with where you stand on the stock. I want to know, are you guys kind of all together? You're kind of team Palantir? Or are you kind of like on the opposite of that spectrum and just think it's overhyped junk? Let me know down in the comments. Now, in regards to the numbers this quarter and on this earnings call, here are my predictions on what we are going to see, and trust me guys, the numbers will not be nearly as exciting as to the commentary with both the bulls and the bears about the earnings because of the reasons that we just discussed, but we got to get to the numbers here. So I think Palantir has a small beat on revenue and also puts up a small beat on EPS, and it increases cash flow once again, which is just awesome. And for those of you guys that kind of don't understand the structure or how they report, how they do their accounting and everything else with their financials, that is the number you want to watch the most based upon how they do their accounting, is that free cash flow number. That's definitely the one that I zoom in on the most. They've obviously had several new contracts that were announced this quarter, and once again, the lag in government contract payouts, which I know is normal for government contracts. We all should know that. It's not shocking at all that government contracts lag. But that lag will not give us the full picture of what is in the bag per se, which means we aren't getting credit now for that, and we're probably not going to get credit this quarter for that. but we will in future quarters, so don't worry about that there. It may become a talking point, but just ignore it. We've also had several large contracts once again renewed, which proves once again that the business model is sticky, and at this stage, I mean, it's hard for customers to leave, especially government customers to switch vendors. It's just really, really hard for them to do, especially with Palantir continuing to prove their worth over and over and over again. And please don't get me started on the commercial versus government side of the business and all that other stuff like that. I have no idea what the mix will look like, and I don't care either if I'm being honest. Literally every earnings call, there are complaints about, the government growth. And it's from bullish people too, right? There's bulls out there saying, oh, I didn't like the government growth this year. I would much sort of see more commercial growth. And then of course, commercial growth will grow. And now they'll flip to the other side and say, hey, we see government isn't growing at the same pace it was before, so that's kind of a problem now. Again, that's not the bears. The bulls will say the same exact thing. It kind of feels like that, Palantir could cure cancer, and I'm sure there will be someone out there who has a complete problem with that. As long as I'm seeing overall growth, I'm not going to put too much stock into whether it's commercial or government or whatever. I want growth overall, and that is what I'm looking at. And yes, I still see comments about their stock-based compensation, and you either understand what is going on there and how it works, or you don't. It's honestly as simple as that. Almost every single company gives it out, especially startups, but for whatever reason, people like to cling to the false notion that somehow Palantir is so much worse than everybody else when it comes to that. It's honestly comical at this stage, but hey, I guess you got to put up great earnings and the bears have to cling to something, and that's what they're going to cling to if that happens. But the other key that I'm kind of looking for this time around is the sales team's performance and how they are kind of coming around as a sales team. I know people freaked out last year because the sales team didn't go from zero, non-existent to super stud sales team in like 3 months for one of the most complex products any sales team has ever sold, period. I mean, that was perfectly realistic expectation, right? That didn't make sense back then. But now I am expecting to see some measurable progress in their development and positive commentary towards it in the earnings call itself. The bottom line is, despite a beat, or if they miss, it doesn't matter. To me, there's nothing coming in this earnings that will either prove the bears or the bulls right with this stock. It's going to take a lot more time for that to play out. However, Alex and the team over there at Palantir are not trying to win the battle today. And honestly, they're not even concerned with any of the stuff that we're probably talking about. Because if you did your due diligence on this management team, you know that is not where their focus lies at all. They're much more worried about the product and what's going on in the world as opposed to, what the heck's going on or what's the narrative going to be if we say this on an earnings call. It's just not their primary concern. So you cannot basically expect huge, incredible earnings calls if they're not gearing the business kind of towards that in the first place. That's why kind of the bulls and the bears still can kind of hang on equal ground with this stock, at least for now. So what am I doing personally with Palantir? All right, well, let me be clear and upfront right now with this fact just to get it out of the way. You cannot time the market. Nobody can time the market. And I'm still seeing people say, sell and take your gains and go all cash on YouTube, or everybody else out there making 37 different predictions on every single stock. It's kind of picked up again after last year's lull. And I have no idea how anyone can keep up with all this. I have no interest in timing the market. And just because you sell today and it goes lower tomorrow does not mean it was a good move unless you bought that next lower move down, which if you did that, it will probably go even lower than that in the short term and you're still losing, except now you've incurred a tax bill if you sold for a gain, and you're essentially a long-term investor trying to day trade or swing trade, and that never works out over the long run, guys. It just doesn't. If you're a long-term investor, what happens tomorrow is not really your concern since nobody knows what will happen with any degree of accuracy. So what's the point in making any sort of short-term predictions? So I'm not going to do that right now. So that means if you're worried about what Palantir will do tomorrow or finding the bottom of this latest drop down or guessing stock price movements in general based upon what the Fed says, or buying and selling based upon recession indicators or anything else like that, then you're basically short-term speculating or trying to time the market is really what you're trying to do. Phrase it however you want, but that is what you're doing, and nobody can do it over the long run with any accuracy. But I mean, good luck if you want to try it, guys. Definitely not something I'm going to try to do. And because nobody can do it with any accuracy, that's why having your plan set before the earnings call is so key. And I know you guys hate it. I say it all the time, but planning and having price targets is key to investing. So then I'm not playing Wall Street's game. However, I am absolutely able to take advantage of the chaos that they create if you play the long game and stay away from all that short-term speculation and just follow your plan. So I'm simply sitting back and watching the numbers and then watching what Wall Street does more importantly. If people freak out because Alex tapped the table 4 times in 5 seconds and then cut off an analyst and then flipped his hair 3 times, and his hair's crazy to begin with, but anyways, he flipped it 3 times. That's definitely an indicator that Palantir is doomed and a terrible company, right? Good, I guess people can freak out that way. So I'll absolutely be a buyer at my price target, which my price target for Palantir is $10.69. As I have cash ready to deploy because I don't care about short-term price action. I care about how the business is performing. And yes, my price target is low. I understand that. It's because I have all the shares that I need. I have a full position. These are just bonus shares, so I don't need to buy more shares. However, if Wall Street wants to get dumb and beat it down like that, I'm going to happily buy additional shares of a stock that I don't need, because to me, that's a steal deal at that stage, at that price. That's why my price target is there. I mean, what? Suddenly the price goes down to my price target and Palantir isn't performing as a business and just a terrible company, despite the earnings call saying the exact opposite? Every stock gets decoupled from the underlying fundamentals of the company from time to time, and those are some of the best times to buy those stocks. Wall Street wants to give me Palantir at under $10 again too? I'm gonna happily take it. I'm not trying to guess the bottom or anything else. I'm trying to get great stocks at a great price, and I don't care about the price next month or even next year. I'm looking 3 to 5 years out. That's my time horizon for any stock that I buy. Holding and looking to add at your price target when short-term issues arise, like an earnings call that is great, but the stock sells off anyways, is the perfect time I like to add. So make sure you have your price targets ready so you can execute if they hit. And remember, if you want to see my complete watch list with price targets for all the stocks I'm looking at, you want to see all my buys in real time, you want my complete watch list with price targets, you want to take 5 courses for free, you want to use our stock analyzer tool for free, be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there, be able to slide into my DMs anytime, jump on our live Q&As. Guys, there's so much in there, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos a week going on in there. So much information in there. Make sure you check out the pinned comment. Take advantage of the sale before it expires and the price goes back up. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.